Irish guy, and admit it, the rest of the Premier League is scared of Newcastle. Every supporter in the league just prays that Moneybags Newcastle will fail, right? I mean, Christ, last Christmas, everyone was practically giddy that the richest club on planet Earth would be relegated to the Championship. I mean, it's like that rich kid in school who gets to spend every Christmas day eating cake at Disneyland. Yeah, I mean, part of you would love for him to trip in the hall and smash his iPhone 12 off the floor. I mean, most children have to fix their teeth with awkward-looking braces. Oh, this spoiled boy's got veneers from Turkey. Just what? I mean, to be fair, I feel like I'm describing the childhood of Romeo Beckham. Surely all his classmates wanted to poke him in the eye with a fork. But lads, if Newcastle were relegated last season, then to be fair, that would have made an utter mockery of the Championship. I mean, you just know, even when rotting in the second tier, they still have found a few talented mercenaries to join the club. Honestly, I'm convinced the likes of Jesse Lingard would have accepted a £150,000 a week contract to play against the likes of Preston, Wigan and Sunderland. Although, I mean, you've all seen him at Forest. Right now, he's got about as much hunger for the sport as I do for Kit Kats dunked in poo. Yeah, no thanks. But lads, 2 weeks ago, sure, Newcastle were a team who hadn't won in 6 games. Oh, the takeover project was crumbling around their knees, right? Soon the owners would press the panic button, and Eddie Howe would be tossed in a Saudi-shaped bin and replaced with, I don't know, Mauricio Pochettino. Somebody who right now probably has the self-confidence of a lonely dentist. I'm sorry, but going from being the most confident boss in Europe when he was at Tottenham, you know, linked to Manchester United, to now sacked twice in a row and being offered gigs at the bottom of the Premier League. Again, it'd be like if a 90s superstar like Britney Spears was now just being asked to sing at weddings for the poor. But I mean, everyone was licking their lips and praying for how to get the sack, right? And for Newcastle to just give the job to Rafa Benitez again, right? I mean, listen, yeah, he did a good job on Tyneside, but he's 62, and I have too much respect for Benitez to call him a fully blown dinosaur, so maybe let's just call him an aging lizard. And I promise you, if he was given the riches of Newcastle, he would still have this team playing 5 at the back and boarding every Jordan into the brink of tears. Honestly, he'd probably build the defence around Paul Dummett. But lad, Howe is building something. I mean, they just scored 9 goals in the last 2 games of football. That is the sound of money exploding. I mean, this reminds me of when Manchester City were bought in 2008. And yes, Robinho joined on deadline day, and it was a tricky start. But I mean, by mid-September, they faced a talented Portsmouth team who just won the FA Cup. A team who back then, I tipped them to finish 5th in the Premier League. Well, Man City beat them 6-0. Even Chet Evans scored, and not in a way that would get him arrested. I mean, mark my words, we are going to see a similar statement of intent for Newcastle at Old Trafford next week. Yeah, I know the Geordies haven't tasted a win at this ground for nearly 10 years. I mean, usually making the trip to Manchester United. For Newcastle fans, about as much fun as spying on your granddad in the bath, or being invited to a birthday party if you're a senile nan. Oh, yeah, great. She just fell asleep in the cake. But lad, I'm telling you now, Newcastle have nothing to fear this time, and I reckon it is going to be a massive result. Manchester United 0, Newcastle United 4. Honestly, 4-0. It's gonna be big. Just you watch. 4-0 to Newcastle. Clip this up. I am right. Manchester United are going to be embarrassed by the Magpies. But lads, Bruno Guimarães is the truth. I mean, this summer, West Ham fans were practically drooling all over their computers, salivating over the arrival of Lucas Paqueta, the modern day McKelly, right? I promise you, yeah, they're both Brazilian best friends from Lyon. And I realize Paqueta is more established in the Brazil first team. I mean, he's only got 40 caps. Bruno is somehow stuck on 8. But I am telling you, using nothing but the eyes in my head, I am telling you there is no comparison. Bruno Guimarães is the Premier League's biggest secret. He could and probably should be playing in Manchester City's midfield. I mean, why didn't City sign him in January? I have no idea. I mean, he is the ready-made Kevin De Bruyne's successor, or even Manchester United. The guy was available for £38 million. I mean, he was cheaper than Donny van de Beek. And instead of sending scouts to France, you just saw lazy reports of you stiffing out Ruben Neves. Yeah, I think we've established by now that Neves is one of these footballers who's never going to get the big move. Honestly, he's just a Portuguese talent who's just going to die in Wolverhampton. He's like that ugly puppy who never gets picked at the pound. I mean, he's been there nearly 6 years, and nobody has ever touched him with a pooey stick. But Bruno, oh, he's single-handedly going to pick apart the Man United midfield, and it will be an utter Samba masterclass. But Newcastle were electric against Brentford. I'm sorry, with the pressing, the creativity, the drive, the motivation to score more goals. I mean, yeah, okay, Ethan Pinnock at centre half chucked in one of the worst shifts I've ever seen in the top flight. Honestly, it doesn't matter like Titus Bramble had just drunk a litre of Calpol before the game. Honestly, Pinnock was dreadful. But still, Eddie Howe ball is a thing of beauty. I get that Celtic are under a good thing with Ange Postecoglou, who is doing well, and yeah, it must be quite exciting steering into the unknown. Well, you know, the former manager of Melbourne Victory, Whittlesea Zebras, and Yokohama Marinos. Yeah, it's like getting set up on a blind date with someone who just breastfeeds pigs on the mountains of Romania. I mean, yeah, it's different. But anyhow, if he had taken the job in Glasgow and given the chance, oh, he'd be your second coming of Brendan Rodgers, winning absolutely everything in sight. I mean, during his little hiatus from football, we probably just sat at home during lockdown, cooking scrambled eggs with the wife, while scratching his armpit on the couch, and maybe just having tea at Harry Redknapp's house. Oh, apparently he was offered the jobs at Sheffield United and Crystal Palace. I mean, to be fair, succeeding Roy Hodgson at Selhurst Park would have been a clever move, because yeah, give Howe the youthful attacking talent of Ebereki Edzi and Michael Elise, and he'd have done a pretty good job. But imagine going to Bramall Lane after they just dumped Chris Wilder and were in free fall. I mean, this is a guy who will be England boss one day, so even receiving that email in the post, oh, the utter disrespect, asking an exciting coach like Howe to take time out of his day to coach a nearly 50-year-old Phil Jack Yelka? No, it's been like me asking Chunks to come and mow my lawn. I'm sorry, what? He's a multi-millionaire. He's not going to spend his Sunday afternoons picking weeds out of the mud. But Newcastle United, this is a match made in heaven. There is something happening at this club, and next season, they will be in a title challenge. I'm sorry, but they will. Trust me, in December 2023, Newcastle will be top of the league. I mean, lads, we all know about the Leicester City miracle in 2016, right? But lads, even Leicester in 2019, that was a pretty unspectacular squad. I mean, they just overpaid for Yote Perez, and they are being coached by a guy who is now favoured for the sack. And yet, they were second in the league on Christmas Day, above Manchester City. Oh, I suppose that was a fluke, right? I mean, they clearly wouldn't do the same thing the following year. Oh, really? No, well, January 2021, and Leicester were top, sitting top of the Premier League. Why can't Newcastle do the same? In my eyes, Newcastle need 5 new signings before the start of next season. And then trust me, the title hunt is on. This January, go out there and buy Moussa Diaby, a 23-year-old French exciting winger who stuffed in a Bundesliga relegation battle with Bayer Leverkusen. I mean, he had the choice to join Newcastle this summer and instead said no. I'm guessing you must now feel like making toast in the shower, right? Listen, I know Mickey Almiron has been in electric form, proving that Jack Grealish has about as much an eye for a footballer as I do for Himalayan pigs. But bring in Diaby and get those two to wrestle it out for a spot on the right wing. And then next summer, James Maddison will have 1 year left in his Leicester City deal. I'm sorry, but if Newcastle United cannot prize him away, then something is seriously wrong. I mean, there's just 1 year left. If Leicester stay in the Premier League, then you can probably still buy him for about £30 million. But oh, if Leicester go down, then lads, Newcastle will be able to buy James Maddison for about 15 million quid. 15 mil! That's about as much as you pay for Jamal Lewis. And yeah, sign a left back, because I'm sorry, if the options are Matt Target, Jamal Lewis and Dan Burn, I mean sure, 3 honest pros, yes, but individually, do they make your pulse race? No, stop pretending. Of course they don't. Trying to get excited about either one of them. It's like kidding yourself into being excited for that bowl of Rice Krispies poured by your nan. Yeah, usually there's at least 3 grey strands of hair in the milk. And last time I swear I found a tooth. Newcastle need an out-and-out left back. I mean, Manchester City bought Gael Clichy from Arsenal, and he did very well. Similarly, Newcastle go out there and pay £40 million for Kieran Tierney. I mean, he's only 25, not as short of a starting role at Arsenal. I mean, he would be a mega coup if you can get him, and it will be tough to sign him. Then if not, then second choice, Sergio Reguilon. I mean, people seem to assume that because Tottenham binned him, oh, he's got the natural ability of a horse's crotch. But no, lads, in a back 4, he's a pretty left back. He's on loan at Atletico Madrid, so offer Tottenham 20 million quid and he's yours. So yeah, either one, Tierney or Reguilon. Then sign an out-and-out defensive midfielder. I mean, it'll allow Bruno to play the more attacking midfield role. I mean, sure, John Joe Shelby will be back from injury soon, but lads, he's been at Newcastle for 7 years. He's a bit like, you know, that same moldy pair of shoes you've had since you were in school. I mean, they're now covered in mud, weed, they have holes in the toes, and mostly stink of a badger's grave. I mean, it's time to throw them out. If Calvin Phillips really does have a nightmare debut season at Manchester City, maybe he might be written off as a massive flop, and the club might cut their losses next summer. Maybe in January, test your luck and see if you can get Phillips on loan. I mean, Amadou Onana at Everton is an option for next summer too, but the dream signing, oh, N'Golo Kante. Something is not right for him at Stamford Bridge. I mean, his contract expires in May. Apparently they're offering him to Arsenal for free. Just go out there and get Kante for nothing. He should be the priority #1 target for this club. Get in his agent's ear now and give him a 4-year deal worth £150,000 a week. I mean, sure, it's still a massive 140k pay cut, but It's a 4-year deal. Who else would agree to pay Kante that wage of 36 other than Qatar? Sure, it might look a bit desperate. A 4-year deal for a 32-year-old. And I did criticize Man United for doing the same thing with Casemiro. I mean, you're essentially shoving pots of cash at a granddad. It's like proposing to a woman when she's 86 years of age. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get too many holidays out of her, big guy. You'll be lucky if she doesn't have a heart attack on the honeymoon. But you let me know. Kante to Newcastle, is it a good deal? And then finally, this one sounds insane, but go and get James Milner. I know, it sounds like lunacy, right? All that money in the world, and you choose to go and buy a 37-year-old man? I mean, it's a bit like winning the lottery and choosing to steal a raid through the public bins for your lunch. But lads, if Newcastle want to embark on a title challenge, then they need experience in the squad. And lads, Milner has been around forever. He's been involved in 10 title races in his life. 10! Lad, he's been around forever, and I will prove it. Here's a list of retired ex-pros who are now pundits, fully fledged pundits, who Milner has played with.
Jamie Carragher, Jermaine Genius, Rio Ferdinand, Anton Ferdinand, Gabriel Bonlahor, Danny Mills, Carlton Cole, Darren Ambrose, Darren Bent, Glenn Johnson, Jamie O'Hara, Jermaine Defoe, Joe Cole, Jolie Lescott, Micah Richards,
and even Alan Shearer. Yes, Milner has played football with someone who has been a pundit for nearly 20 years. That is mental. Even Gary Lineker only retired 8 years before Milner's debut. I know, all the money in the world, but I'm tipping Newcastle to sign a footballer who they last signed in 2004. But lads, get him in the squad, play him in the cup games, and let the likes of him and Kieran Trippier absolutely run the dressing room. I mean, get him a part-time job on Eddie Howe's coaching staff. And I honestly believe that the club can mould James Milner into a future top manager. And honestly, if Milner approaches his coaching career with the same levels of sickening discipline that he had in his playing days, then without a doubt, this man will manage England at a World Cup. He's been playing Premier League football every single week since 2002. Honestly, he's been on that Ronaldo diet for 20 years. I mean, that Cristiano Ronaldo diet. I mean, no, I don't think he's eating 9 donuts for breakfast. I mean, honestly, the Brazilian Ronaldo probably wakes every morning and devours an entire sheep. But honestly, look at Milner. He has been playing Premier League football every single week since 2002. He has never had to dip his toes into the championship. That is insane. He probably hasn't had a sausage roll since 2001. I mean, the last time he even ate a Twix was probably on his way to the cinema to watch the first Shrek. So next year, I promise you, with these signings, Newcastle will be in a credible title race. Just you watch. Get Diaby, Maddison, Kante, Reguilon, and Milner for what, about 70 to 80 million quid? I mean, that is good business. Anyway, that's it. Let me know in the comments section what do you think about Newcastle and even Steve Bruce. Alright, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.